All right, guys, welcome back to another update. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to my members, shout out to my subscribers. Thank you guys for locking in with me. All right, let's get back on into this thing. Let's get caught up. Right now, we're in Australia. I've joined the coalition, the Australian Empire, and we're just trying to close out Australia right now, and so that we can decide where we want to move on from there. Probably will be Asia. That's the common place you would go once you leave Australia. Um, any questions, any concerns, by all means leave it in the comment. It's not a lot going on, won't be a lot of commentary, so you'll just have to see. This is mainly where you'll be watching just the tedious task of planning and doing the things that you need to do in these earlier parts of the game, so that you would be successful later on. This is what I would call the boring part of the game. This is the part of the game that's not that exciting. I would say, I mean, it's exciting because you're winning, and you're making progress, but there's no real wars going on. You don't have this big, large army that you can kind of control and, different things like that. So you have to build up to that. So this part of the game is just showing the build up. You have to do these little tedious things that I'm going to show you guys if you want to be successful. You got to go to these little small islands and you got to snatch those little capitals. It's a couple of reasons why you want to get those small little capitals. I know you guys know some of the obvious ones, but I think one of the most important reasons why it's good to get these little small islands and to capture those capitals is because, especially early on in the game. Early in the game, guys, most of your provinces need morale boosters. Meaning some of them are at 50%, 60, 70, 80%. When you get those little small capitals, you automatically raise your morale. And so as you begin to get more troops, your morale, your troops' energy is based on the morale of that province. So if your morale is only at 30% for that particular province, that's how your troop is going to come out, 30%. So you want to raise that so you have strong troops coming out of those provinces. That's one of the main reasons why I like to go ahead and snatch them. Also, of course, you get the resources and you get to have that as a kind of like a nice lookout in case anybody try to come that way. So it's good to get those little small islands. But like I said, there's not much action, so y'all just kind of watch, pay attention. Any questions, any concerns, leave it in the comments. But you're going to just see how tedious it is, how many little things you need to do when you're playing this game so that you can be ready and be successful later on. Because if you don't do it now, you're going to suffer later. And while it's fresh on my mind, let me give you guys a thought for the day, or a quote, or something to think about. And that is, never ever allow yourself to become weak. When you're playing this game, always keep yourself in a strong position. So let me explain what I mean by that. I don't care if you're in a coalition. I don't care if you're in an alliance. I don't care if whatever you're a part of. You make sure you can protect yourself and that you're always a threat to others, not them just being a threat to you. You don't put yourself at the mercy of anybody on this game. You always give yourself some leverage where you're always able to protect yourself, and you're never, and this is the main word, is the L word. Never become a, cause that's how you become the L word, a liability. Never become a liability, and never become so weak that someone can look at you and say, hey, we might can go ahead and get rid of this guy. You want them to look at you and say, no, we're glad he's on our team. He's strong. In this game, you do not want to get weak. You don't want to say, oh, I'm on a good team, so I don't have to do a whole lot. You don't want to do that. That's going to make you a liability. When you're playing this game, play strong, play smart. If I ain't mad at you when you playing with me, that means you might not be doing something right. Because I should be upset with you because I'm like, okay, dang, he's taking land, he's taking this and that I want to get. But that's also good because that let me know, okay, this may be somebody I need to have on my team because they're pretty good and they're playing strong, they're playing smart, and they're getting on my nerves because it's cutting out of my what I'm trying to get. But those are the players that I later on I end up teaming up with. So don't become weak on this game, guys. Stay strong and never get too complacent because you're on a good team. As you can see, I got my heroes. They're waiting here and considering where we're going to deploy those guys. So right now we're just mobilizing, snatching these little islands. Any questions, any concerns, leave it in the comments. Shout out to those who were able to join this map with me. This will be a very, 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 very good and interesting map for people to tune into. Just looking around, seeing what some of these other guys are doing. Now, if you notice, guys, what am I doing? I'm constantly moving. I'm being a pest. You got to be a pest in the beginning of the game. Don't be like, oh, I don't want to take too much. No, you better get it while you can get it. So I'm constantly moving, constantly trying to expand, constantly looking for opportunities. See the situation down here with Pellenberg. This is I spoke with Pellenberg earlier, and he understands that, well, I hope he understands that by him being right here, that's what I mean by don't be weak. He needed to move a little quicker to expand and and gain more strength, because that particular province where Pellenberg is at, that's a that's a very necessary cross. That's the area where people need to cross over from Australia. So you have to already know, okay, I'm gonna have to get real strong over here. Otherwise, I can almost guarantee that I'm going to get attacked, because people have to cross through there. So that's what happened with Pallenberg, and Perth is in the right to try to attack that area and get that area, because it just makes sense. And not only that, Pallenberg has to understand he only has about 12 provinces over there, 12 to 15 provinces. So that's not a lot, and that's very weak at this stage in the game. So that's what I mean by don't be weak, get strong. And if you need to learn different tactics and techniques on how to get strong in the earlier parts of the game, go to some of my older videos and just watch from the beginning. I tell you what you need to get as far as what you need to use to be as fast as you can and things like that. So you just got to go back to some of my older videos and it'll break it down for you. Okay, as you can see, I'm starting to build my airplanes. That's my to me, that's my number one tool is my airplanes. So until I get my airplanes, I kind of take everything kind of easy, but I like to build these airplanes very early, and that does require a lot of my resources early on. So I may not be able to build all the tanks and artillery guns, but I got those big bad bombers on their way. This is very early in the game to be building airplanes, but once you learn the power of how to use your airplanes, those though it's very difficult to challenge someone who knows how to use air warfare on this game and know how to do it the right way. That's what I mean by, guys, you got to learn your strategies to this game. It's not always about using gold and boosters. It's about understanding how to strategize. So it's all about, your style of play. Mine's is I like airplanes, so yeah, I started building them right now. Um, they take a long time. They take a couple of days to get built. So some people don't want to wait that long. They're like, well, I'd rather just go ahead and build this or that. And that could be your style. But just know that once, you have to be a master of your craft. So I'm going to demonstrate that when it comes to airplanes. Some people like tanks. Some people like to use tanks as their strategy. So it all depends on what you do and what you like. Should have this little island wrapped up not too much longer. Making sure your borders are in order. That's another sign of just letting people know, hey, we're cool, we're teammates and all that, but I'm not going to get weak. Because you know what'll happen sometimes. What if me and one of my teammates have a disagreement about something and we get mad at each other? At least we won't fight each other because we're both strong and we don't want to kill each other because we're both able to defend each other well. So just being, like I said, not being weak keeps stuff like that from happening. But if me and you fall out and I'm mad at you and I see that you can't even defend yourself, I'm gonna just wipe you out, right? Because now you gave me an excuse to do it. So that's why you got to stay strong. Until next time, guys, y'all stay tuned and we'll be right back at you.